While most people are trading in their Fords at 100,000 miles, convinced the engine's about to blow, there's a secret society of Ford owners who've cracked the code. They're driving the same trucks and sedans past the half-million mark without opening up the engine block. Want to know how they're doing it? 1. Replace your filters. That air filter sitting under your hood is your engine's lungs. When that filter gets clogged with dirt, debris, and all the garbage floating around on the highway, your engine has to work exponentially harder to pull in the oxygen it needs for combustion. That extra work translates directly into wear on your pistons, valves, and cylinder walls. A dirty air filter doesn't just reduce your gas mileage by a few percentage points. It actually changes the air-to-fuel ratio in your combustion chamber. Your engine computer tries to compensate, but it's fighting a losing battle. Over time, this imbalanced combustion creates carbon deposits. Those deposits build up on your valves and pistons, and before you know it, you're looking at reduced compression, misfires, and eventually catastrophic engine failure. The oil filter works the same way, but even more critically. Every time your oil cycles through the engine, it picks up microscopic metal particles, combustion byproducts, and contaminants. The oil filter catches these particles before they can circulate back through your engine and act like sandpaper on your bearings and cylinder walls. And here's the beautiful part. These filters cost maybe 20 or 30 bucks. You're protecting a $15,000 engine with a $20 part. 2. Change the oil and fluids. But now you're probably wondering something. You're thinking about all those fluids under the hood and asking yourself this question. If filters are so simple and cheap, then why do transmission failures seem to come out of nowhere, even when people change their oil religiously? And what's the real difference between the Ford owners who make it past 500,000 miles versus those who end up on the side of the highway at 150,000 with a blown transmission, even though they both claim they maintain their vehicles properly? Well, here's the answer, and it's going to change how you think about maintenance forever. The Ford owners making it past 500,000 miles aren't just changing their engine oil. They're treating every fluid system in their vehicle with the same level of attention. Your transmission fluid, brake fluid, power steering fluid, and coolant are all working under extreme conditions. They're breaking down chemically, they're absorbing moisture, and they're accumulating contaminants. Let me break down what's really happening inside your transmission. That fluid isn't just lubricating gears, it's also acting as a hydraulic fluid that controls your clutch packs and valve body. When transmission fluid breaks down, it loses its ability to maintain proper hydraulic pressure. You might not notice anything at first. Maybe your shifts get slightly softer, or there's a tiny delay when you accelerate. Most people ignore these signs. They tell themselves it's just the way the truck drives now, that it's got some miles on it. But here's what's actually happening. Those worn-out fluid molecules can't maintain the precise hydraulic pressures your transmission computer is calling for. Your clutch packs start slipping microscopically. That slipping generates heat. The heat accelerates the fluid breakdown. It's a death spiral, and once it starts, it's almost impossible to stop without a complete rebuild. The half-million-mile Ford owners understand this. They're changing their transmission fluid every 30 to 50,000 miles, not every 100,000 like the manual suggests. They're using high-quality fluids that meet Ford's exact specifications, and they're not waiting for the fluid to turn black and smell burnt. They're staying ahead of the breakdown curve. Same principle applies to your brake fluid. Most people never even think about brake fluid until their brakes start feeling spongy, but brake fluid is hygroscopic. That means it absorbs moisture from the air. When moisture gets into your brake lines, it lowers the boiling point of the fluid. Under hard braking, that moisture can actually boil, creating vapor pockets in your lines. Vapor compresses, brake fluid doesn't. When you've got vapor in your lines, your brake pedal goes to the floor, and your stopping distance just tripled. The high-mileage crowd flushes their brake fluid every 2 years without fail. It's not exciting. Nobody's going to congratulate you for fresh brake fluid, but when you're at 400,000 miles and your brakes still feel firm and responsive, you'll understand why it matters. 3. Check your tire pressure. When your tires are underinflated, even by just 5 or 10 psi, your car's entire suspension geometry changes. Your alignment goes out the window. One tire starts wearing on the inside edge, while another wears on the outside. Your steering wheel pulls to one side, so you're constantly making micro corrections. Those corrections translate into extra stress on your tie, rod ends, ball joints, and wheel bearings. Those components wear out prematurely. When they wear out, they create play in your suspension. That play accelerates tire wear even more. It's another cascading failure that started with something as simple as tire pressure. But here's where things get really interesting, and this is the part that's going to sound completely backwards. The secret to making your Ford last over 500,000 miles has almost nothing to do with spending more money. In fact, some of the highest mileage Ford owners I know spend less on their vehicles than people whose vehicles don't make it past 200,000 miles. But how is that even possible? It comes down to timing and attention. The low mileage owners wait until something breaks, then they throw money at it trying to fix the damage. The high mileage owners catch problems when there's still whispers instead of screams. They're reading their vehicle constantly. Every time they drive, they're paying attention. These observations cost absolutely nothing, but they're worth more than any diagnostic computer at the dealership. When you catch a problem early, while it's still small, the fix is usually simple and cheap. 4. Drive responsibly. How you drive has a more significant impact on longevity than almost any other single factor. Every time you floor the accelerator from a stoplight, you're creating enormous stress on every component in your drivetrain. Your transmission has to handle that torque spike. Your differential absorbs the shock. Your axles flex. Your engine internals experience forces they weren't designed to handle repeatedly. Hard acceleration isn't just bad for your gas mileage. It's literally shortening the life of your vehicle with every stoplight drag race. The same goes for braking. When you wait until the last second to brake, you're creating enormous heat in your brake components. That heat warps your rotors, glazes your pads, and boils your brake fluid. The smoothest operators on the road, the ones making it past 500,000 miles, drive carefully. Gentle acceleration, anticipating stops well in advance, using engine braking whenever possible. It's not exciting, but it works. So if you're doing all this maintenance perfectly, checking everything religiously, driving smoothly, and treating your Ford with respect, why do some vehicles still experience catastrophic failures seemingly out of nowhere while others with the exact same maintenance schedule sail past 500,000 miles without even burning oil? And what's the one thing the ultra-high mileage owners do that almost nobody else even thinks about? Well, the answer is going to sound almost too simple. They study the owner's manual like it's the Bible. That manual sitting in your glove box that you've never opened, it contains information that's specifically tailored to your exact Ford model, engine configuration, and transmission type. Inside that manual, Ford engineers have documented the precise specifications for every fluid, every filter, every maintenance interval, and every warning sign you need to watch for. They've included torque specifications for your lug nuts that prevent wheel bearing damage. They've explained what every warning light means before it becomes an emergency. They've detailed the break-in procedure that sets the foundation for your engine's entire lifespan. The ultra-high mileage crowd reads that manual cover to cover not once, multiple times. They understand their vehicle systems better than most mechanics because they've taken the time to learn directly from the engineers who designed it. When something doesn't feel right, they can reference the manual and understand what's normal versus what needs attention. Here's another crucial element that manual teaches you. Modern Fords are packed with technology that most owners never even activate. Your truck probably has a transmission temperature gauge buried in the digital display. Your engine computer is constantly monitoring dozens of parameters and storing diagnostic codes long before your check engine light comes on. Learning how to access and interpret this information gives you supernatural predictive powers about your vehicle's health. The manual also specifies things like proper jacking points, towing capacities, and payload limits. Exceed these limits repeatedly, and you're accelerating wear on every structural component of your vehicle. The 500,000-mile owners never exceed their vehicle's ratings. 5. Have it serviced regularly. Here's another element of the high mileage formula. Regular professional servicing. Yes, you can change your own oil. You can replace your own air filter. But once a year, these Ford veterans take their vehicles to a qualified technician for a comprehensive inspection. A good technician will put your vehicle on a lift and examine every component underneath. They'll check for fluid leaks you can't see from above. They'll inspect your exhaust system for cracks and corrosion. They'll look at your suspension bushings and steering components for wear. They'll measure your brake pad thickness and rotor condition. This annual deep dive catches problems you'd never notice until they became emergencies. It's the safety net that keeps 500,000-mile Fords on the road instead of on the back of a tow truck. So there you have it, the complete blueprint for taking your Ford past 500,000 miles without major repairs. So what's the highest mileage you've ever gotten out of a vehicle? And what do you think was the key factor that kept it running? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you want more strategies for keeping your Ford running strong for decades, hit that subscribe button.